Another fight week for you coming up. This one was a little dicey. You lost your opponent in the weeks leading up. Was there any fear that they weren't going to be able to find, a replacement for you?
Yeah, I was a little nervous. I could really use the money. I had an expensive training camp. I've been in Las Vegas using the PI, and I knew it was a risk. Scoggins was a guy that I've been wanting to fight. He's very exciting. I thought that was a chance for bonus money, and but he's missed a couple bouts due to weight and other issues. So I knew that was a risk, and I took it anyway. I heard that he got injured, and I hope that he recovers fast.
Yeah, there you go. And you said, it was an expensive camp. You did it in Vegas, but where were you training when you weren't at the PI? Because that's supposedly free for everyone, right?
So I had classes every day at the PI that was just my guys coming in for me and Robert Follis. But I also worked at Extreme Couture quite a bit. I did my sparring there. They have a ton of little guys and a lot of talent. So I never was at a loss for training partners. I was doing my jiu-jitsu at 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu in Las Vegas. So I pretty much had every basis covered for this fight camp. And I feel like this is one of the first times where I really put everything into my camp. I had no distractions. I was just focused on the fight the whole entire time.
That's good then. So when Justin falls out and it's kind of that in-between spot where you don't know what's going to happen there, were you just, okay, give me any name and I'm all in on it, or what was kind of the process there until you finally got the fight settled?
It used to would have been, I would say, just find me somebody, I'll fight anybody. I specialized a camp for Justin Scoggins, and he has a little bit different style. So if they would have just offered me anybody, I don't know is that I would have taken it. But I feel like the opponent that they did come up with, I feel like he's a good guy, he has a great record, and somebody that probably should be in the UFC already. So, why not? Let's do it.
Yeah, there you go. So do you feel that he kind of has a style somewhat similar to Justin? Because I know Justin's like karate, he does that kind of stuff. Do you feel this one somewhat falls in the same footsteps?
No, man, not even close. Pietro is a jiu-jitsu guy with Muay Thai striking, never switches his stance, not a lot of movement. So totally different guy, but the game plan kind of stays the same. He's dangerous, so we kept the same game plan and kept right on trucking.
Yeah, there you go. So for this fight, is this basically just a placeholder fight in some way? I know that kind of sounds somewhat negative, but you're going to make your money, you're going to get a win, those kind of things, but probably not going to move you up the rankings or closer to a title shot, really.
Yeah, the thing about that is it's all about getting wins and, noticeable wins. I don't really pay too much attention to the rankings and all that. And the way the UFC is going right now, the rankings don't really mean anything. People are changing weight class. Guys are holding onto their belts. They're jumping. So it's not too big of a deal for me. I feel like a win here puts me right where I need to be. But, my job is to fight, and Canada's been really good to us. James Krause fought Sam Stout here. It was one of my best experiences in MMA that I've ever had. I remember that night like it was yesterday. So we're excited to get back in Canada and fight, and I feel like it's a good matchup.
Yeah, so, in this division, you could probably beat 3 guys that are making their UFC debut. If you do it all first-round submissions or something, that's enough, even, compared to beating 2 top 5 guys, right, by decision or something.
Well, guys that fought Demetrius before me, they fought 2 nobodies and would win against 2 nobodies and get a title fight. I've fought nothing but studs, and I got my title fight a little differently by going through the Ultimate Fighter. But wins is where it's at. If I get a win here, 1 or 2 more, I feel like I'm right there in title contention.
Yeah, there you go. And you kind of made some headlines a little bit the other day, around the Ultimate Fighter finale when you sent out that tweet talking about the pay and everything. Can you just clarify, exactly what angle you were coming at that from? Did you not get the deal that these fighters were getting and you're upset about that? Or can you just kind of clarify what your intentions were with those tweets?
Well, it's not really that. I knew what the season after me was getting. The winner got $250,000. Mm-hmm. And then the female season, I heard her payout. And I was just a little surprised because I didn't get anything for winning the show. I won 2 motorcycles, and that's it. I didn't get $5,000 a fight, so I got 20 grand and 2 motorcycles that I had to sell and pay taxes on. So, I wasn't really bitter. I think the fighters that are getting paid, they deserve to get paid. I just wish that I would have got something for winning the Ultimate Fighter. I got a piece of glass that says I won the Ultimate Fighter and 2 motorcycles. So I would much rather have $250,000. They said that my prize was to get a fight Demetrius Johnson, which is great, but my pay was for that fight. My pay that I got for that fight was for fighting Demetrius. I didn't get anything really for winning the Ultimate Fighter, and it kind of sucks because I spent time away from my kid. I have a 2-year-old daughter, and I'm a stay-at-home dad. I spend every second with my kid, and to leave her for 7 weeks for 20 grand, it's not worth it. And it kind of hurt, but I was a guy who was let go by the UFC once before, and I was lucky enough to get rehired. So, you know, I don't have any hard feelings with the UFC. I think fighters should get their worth, and you know, if I keep winning and I keep doing good, then, you know, I'll get mine.
So basically how it worked is like you got a payout just for that fight with Demetrius and then didn't go your way, and you go back to what, like a typical normal UFC contract, or was there any perks, you know, based on the fact that you were fighting for the title, that you were coming in, all those things?
They dropped me down to 25 and 25, which is still, that's way more than what I was getting before. So, you know, I did get a bump in pay, but it wasn't 50 and 50, you know, coming right off. And I'm not trying to take anything away from Roxanne, but she didn't even win the show. She got in by default and then got rewarded with, you know, a big payday, which is good. That's good for her. It just, you know, it stings for the guys who won the show and didn't get, you know, what they thought they were going to get or were hoping to get, or the, you know, I don't even want to say recognition, because I feel like my second run in the UFC has been really good, and I'm grateful to have the opportunity to fight again. So just me complaining, I would have, you know, I wanted that 250K that Kraus had an opportunity to get, but you know, it's different for weight class. I realize the 25-pound division is, you know, it's not really popular, so you know, it's understandable.
Yeah, there you go. And you briefly mentioned the title and all that stuff. What do you just think of the top of this weight class right now? Do you think it's fair for TJ to potentially come down and fight, you know, DJ right away? Do you think Henry Cejudo's earned another shot? Or if you were kind of, you know, making the decisions here, where would you like to see this weight class go?
I think it's fair that TJ could come down and fight. The thing is he's a big name guy. He's the champ at 35. He shouldn't have to fight at 25. But to ask Demetrius Johnson to go up in weight is just ludicrous, because he's a little bitty guy. I mean, he could make 115 pounds. So for him fighting at 135 it's just ridiculous. So I think if TJ can make weight at 25, I feel like that's a fight that should happen, and that'll stir up the division, and that's good for TJ, and that's good for Demetrius, and that's good for me.
Yeah, there you go. And last thing, how do you just see this fight going? I mean, I know the last one obviously didn't go the way you wanted. How you said Canada's good to you. What do you envision kind of rebounding with here?
You know, I want to put the screws to this guy early and wear him out. I think he's a gasser. I don't think he's fought anybody that is on my skill level, and I think that'll be exposed. I think that I'll get a second, third round TKO. I feel like I'll wear on him in the later rounds.